You guys hear me? You can, good. I think people are still trying to come in. Just wait a second here. Hi, Trish. How are you doing tonight? Hi, Maureen. No sound? Perfect. The camera's been kind of like flickering off, so hopefully it doesn't do that too much. As long as you guys can see the slides and hear me, that's the most important thing. Hi, Jan. Okay, so it's now, well, 5:30 my time. So we're gonna get started. So obviously I am not Melanie as my little camera dictates, but it is great to see you all here. This is my first time running a support group, and I have to admit I'm a little bit nervous, so just take it easy on me. So as most of you know, my name is Jennifer, and I am a coach with WLF. Aw, thanks, Trish. I had my surgery 3.5 years ago, and I have lost almost 200 pounds. So it's been pretty awesome for me with this support group tonight. And the reason why I chose this particular topic about overeating is because with my own self, I've had my own personal struggles, and basically just from not eating enough to overeating, which is what we're talking about tonight. I've learned a lot from Melanie and from WLF over the past few years, so I want to share that little bit of knowledge with you. Okay, so a lot of the times, sleevers and non-sleevers, we tend to mistake thirst for hunger. So I'm actually going to start out with something here to hopefully make you laugh. Here's a diet tip for you all. If you think you're hungry, it's possibly you just might be thirsty. So go and drink a pitcher of margaritas and then see how you feel. I'm totally just joking, of course. We don't want you to go drink a pitcher of margaritas, but a lot of the times when you think you're hungry, it's because you're actually thirsty. So, and it is also a really good, a really good starting point for when it comes to overeating is to talk about thirst. So the days myself, I know when I've been slacking with my water intake are the ones that I feel that I need to snack more, especially at night. And I'm pretty sure a few of you can relate to that because snacking at nighttime can be pretty bad for myself. So one of the biggest tips I have is to make sure that you do get in your 2 liters of water a day, and it will help with those hunger feelings quite a bit. Oh, you said okay. One also thing is that our body is actually made up of 70% water, so we're pretty much just cucumbers with legs walking around. So that's kind of, it is. I completely agree, Trish. It can easily be like 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I haven't even touched a glass of water. And I'm guilty first to admit that that's where I struggle, and it's definitely something that I know I need to work on myself. So it's definitely something. So in addition to water, can anyone guess something else that causes us to overeat? I'm sure you've heard Melanie talk about this quite a few times. Boredom? Yeah, yeah, no, very true, Kim. Stress? Oh, yeah, we do that too. Lack of protein? Yeah, that's a really good one, Trish, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Can anybody else think of one of the big ones? No sleep? Yeah. Sugar. Who said sugar? Skinny I am. I'm not sure what your real name is, but you are 100% right on what the next slide is. Sugar. So we're going to talk a little bit about sugar, and whether it's in the form of bread, whether it's in the form of juice or pop, or those yummy looking donuts on the screen, your body uses it as energy. And when you consume a lot of sugar and your body needs energy, it uses that as opposed to your fat cells. So any leftover sugar that our body doesn't use, it actually gets deposited back in. And then there it just sits there and it creates more fat, and then that's how people tend to gain weight. And one other thing with sugar is this next slide here I want to show you. It's something that's actually stuck with me when I first seen it. And it's something that I bring up to patients quite a bit. And sugar is more addictive than crack cocaine. And as you can see here by this MRI, it just shows right there, the sugar brain is a lot more active than the cocaine brain. So yeah, Kim, like, and Trish, it's really, really crazy. When I saw this, I was like, it really makes sense, because one thing when talking with patients, I describe the first few days of their pre-op diet pretty much coming off drugs, because you have headaches, your palms can be a little clammy. Right. Oh, I so agree. Wouldn't that be great if it was actually illegal, though, to a point? Yeah, no, it's actually it's pretty amusing being able to see that. So the more sugar you have, just like the more drugs you consume, the more you want it. And that's just our body's reaction. Yes. And we just might talk about that a little bit later too, Connie. So when you consume more sugar, it's going to cause you to overeat, right? So there was just that cycle. And when you're overeating, you're going to consume more calories. So one of the things that I wanted to show you guys here with this graph is, for example, this one starts in the 1960s. This is when my parents were growing up. And from when they were growing up to the time when I was growing up, look at the difference already, even between 1980. So I grew up in the 80s and 90s, kind of like showing my age here, or whatever you want to call it, and up until only 2010. So, and it's already 2016. So this graph is a little bit outdated, but it does show the rise of like intake in calories and how people have become obese over the years. So with sugar, and sugar is not the only culprit. Why does this keep happening? So there's other variables that have caused this. Processed foods. They're more available and cheaper. How many times have you gone into the grocery store and you see a pack of Kraft cheese slices, a 24 pack for $3.99, and then you see the real cheese slices, the 12 pack for $7.99? Which one are you going to buy? I know what I would buy. Yeah, you would buy the good one, but sometimes not everybody can. People are, exactly, Kim, you're going to buy the processed one because you get twice as much for half the cost. That's how my brain thinks. I am a mom of four, and being able to budget groceries, that's what I'm going to think. And now that I know this, what I do when I actually buy the good cheese, because I do now, I'm faced with my 5-year-old getting upset with me because his grilled cheese is yucky because it's made with real cheese, right? So like there's there's different sort of aspects of it. Yeah, money does make a difference, Trish, and that's just like my own personal experience, but that's how people are going to see it. And as the economy comes into play here, because I was saying, when I grew up, my parents weren't rich by any means, but they did okay. But for example, at supper time, my parents would be like, make sure that you eat everything on your plate. I know I am still guilty of that because my parents didn't want me to waste food. Therefore, I was eating past my full signal. So I was making sure I was listening to my parents, and eating everything on my plate. So it was basically causing me to overeat. Now, this isn't me blaming my parents. It wasn't their fault because that's how they were raised. But I also find my kids, I do it with them. And then I tell them to finish what's on their plate, and then I can't finish what's on mine most of the time. And then I get the side eye from my kids because, well, I'm taking my half-eaten plate to the garbage while I'm making them sit at the table. So it's really interesting how that can take a place. Exactly, Kim. We're very much alike. That's how I was, and that's how I catch myself with my own kids. And it's really hard for me to prevent that without like stopping and thinking, right, I get full. Like, yes, I've had the sleeve, so I get fuller sooner than they do, but they are 5, 9, and 13 years old, so they still have smaller stomachs, right? So it's kind of, well, except my 13-year-old boy, he can eat me under the table any day. That child, I tell you. And one thing too, exactly. That was right where I was heading to, Julie, was portion sizes. Um, One, like you've probably heard this a million times. Well, use a smaller plate. It can be easier for us as sleevers, but my husband's not a sleever, so asking him to eat off a saucer, he'd probably laugh me out of the back, like out of the kitchen, right? Like there's no way that he is going to eat his dinner on a saucer, and it's just not going to happen. So it's really interesting to see portion sizes between from 1960 to now to 2016 on how that is definitely has changed. So one other thing is a variety of food. Um, for example, you can walk into a grocery store now and there's like 20, 30 different varieties of chips. When I could be growing up, there was salt, vinegar, barbecue, ketchup, and plain, right? Like whereas there was just so many different things out there now. And like I know my husband comes home and he'll come home with a bag of chips and he'll be like, yeah, this one's like sriracha or bacon and sour cream, and like just these really weird combinations that these people are thinking up because it gets people to buy them. So it gets basically sort of like a vicious cycle almost that it's creating. So it's really interesting when you think about it. Yeah, fries and gravy. Exactly. There's just some really weird ones out there, and I was just, yeah, it's different. And one other thing is a lot of times, and I know with my own family, is eating out. I like as I have said, I have 4 kids, so they have 4 sets of activities, and they need to be in 4 different places at once. And I work full time, and my husband works full time. So who makes supper? So unless I actually think to put it in the crock pot at 9 o'clock in the morning or 10 o'clock in the morning, there's a good chance that either it's going to be something that's quick and easy for my kids, and it's going to be processed. Oh, thank you, Trish. Or it's going to be something from a drive-through. And one thing that I know is when I don't plan, I fail because I go to that drive-through and I haven't decided what I'm going to eat, and I usually make a really bad choice. So that's something that I really do recommend is if you decide that you are going to go out for dinner, because we all deserve a night off, let's be honest, is to research where you're going, like whether it's McDonald's or whether it's Boston Pizza or whether it's somewhere else that's not even here. Look, ask for their nutritional and like their information. Like there's a lot of stuff that you can still have that isn't going to hurt you. You just have to be really careful of those hidden sugars, right? Like on a steak, there's actually quite a bit of hidden sugars in steak if you get it with all of their sauces on it. So just keep that in mind. Exactly. It is a new way of life. And one thing that really affected me when we would go out for dinner at first is I'd almost get food remorse. I was mad because I had this amazing meal in front of me and it was a good choice. It was steak, it was veggies, but I couldn't eat it all. And I was so mad, right? And one tip for that I do that I tell my patients is ask for a to-go container right away. It's weird. They're going to look at you funny, but if you can get that out of your face right away, you're not going to feel the need to eat it. And let's just exactly. You have to, because like, and it's just our brain, it's just how it thinks. It sees food and it automatically thinks that it needs to eat everything on the plate, right? And our tummies, they're just not big enough to do it. So it helps with that overeating, because you're putting half to three quarters of that meal away, and you're putting it in your fridge and you're having it for lunch and supper the next day. Like, it's something that I definitely have to do, or else I get mad. Exactly, they don't. They think there's something wrong, and they're like, "Are you sure everything's okay?" It's really actually quite amusing. It gives me a kick every time, but I'm really open about having surgery, so I just tell them I have a tiny tummy. That's all I do. Exactly. Yeah, pick over and eat it. Exactly. Kid meals. Hey, exactly, Heather, that's perfect. If they allow you to order kids meals, definitely. Oh, that's a good idea, Julie, before it even comes out. And I've never thought of that. Mm-hmm. Cut it into quarters. Yeah, what I've done is my son, because like, as I was saying earlier, he eats quite a bit, is he'll order my meal because he can still order off the kids menu, and I'll order the meal he wants, and then we'll kind of just do a switcheroo. Share an order. Yeah, exactly, Jean. Yeah, no, I've had to do that too with my husband, and then he gets mad because we order lots and then he has to eat all the extra food. So that one is pretty funny when we're doing stuff like that. Okay, so one of the things that is kind of interesting here, when I was doing my research for tonight, I found this graph and I thought it was really actually easy to understand, and it kind of ties in with everything. So it's the sugar addiction cycle. And you eat sugar, you crave it, you like it, it has addictive properties. You said it's worse than crack cocaine. And then in turn, it spikes your blood sugar. It releases the hormone in your brain, and the insulin secreted, and it drops your blood sugar levels. And now your blood sugar levels fall, and then it makes you want more. So it goes to your craving, and it makes you feel like you're hungry. And regardless of whether you have the sleeve or not, this is going to do this, right? Like, it's going to constantly be that cycle. If you're constantly eating sugar, your blood sugars are going to rise, and then they're going to fall. And then you're going to get all those cravings. And you're going to feel like you're hungry when you're really not, right? Like, it's definitely a cycle, and I'm guilty of falling for this cycle before and after my sleep. And just know that it's because you have your sleep, you can come back, right? Like, that's definitely one thing you can do. So what are the things that we can do to help overeating? I'm sure there was a few ideas out there earlier. What do you guys think that we can do? Yeah, that's perfect, Trish. Cook and eat yourself. Plans are really good one, Kim. Duct tape on mouth. That's awesome. Yeah, using different sugars, more protein. Exactly. And that actually brings us to our next slide. So, what can we do about it? Protein. So, you guys are right on the nose with that one. And as you know, Nutrisol, it helps you reduce your cravings, whether it's or supplement, whether you're eating more protein of another kind, it's going to help in the end. One good thing that Melanie has said in the past that I like to go by, it has stuck with me because I have absolutely no willpower. It's just to crowd out those bad foods and to crowd them out with protein. So with consuming more, it's going to actually help you with overeating. It's actually really funny how eating more will actually, in the end, help you eat less. So when you're eating a diet that's high in protein, it's going to help boost your metabolism. It's going to reduce your appetite, and it even changes your weight regulating hormones that are in your brain. It's kind of interesting on how that all works. Exactly, Connie. Yeah, like I noticed that too. there was like, oh gosh, it was a few weeks ago, and I was having a bad week. I had no Nutrisol, I had nothing, and I was really, really cranky, and I didn't know why. And yeah, it's when I clued in, that's because I hadn't been taking my Nutrisol, or not even just Nutrisol, but like protein in general. I wasn't drinking my water. I was just cranky, and it's really interesting how much better I felt after. So with all those hormones, I also want to show you something that's a little bit scientific here, because the brain is kind of fascinating. The hypothalamus there, that is actually what helps regulate your weight in your brain. It's right in the center. It does everything for you, and it figures out how much your body needs to eat. It's actually quite interesting because of how small it is and what a large impact it has. So by consuming a diet that is higher in protein, you increase your appetite reducing hormones. Leptin is one, while reducing your hunger hormones, ghrelin. I like to call it gremlin because, the little gremlin guy that just kind of reminds me of how I feel when I was really hungry, or hangry, if you want to call it that, was like little gremlins. So that's what I call it. So when you're eating higher protein and you get more appetite reducing hormones in your body, it's going to prevent you from overeating. So, and like if you choose a protein that's also high in fiber, it's going to keep you fuller for longer as well, right? So it's kind of a 2-for-1 deal, which is really nice. So because you're eating less, you're consuming less calories, especially sugar, and you're not even really realizing it. So that part is kind of like, it's an interesting cycle, kind of like the reverse of the sugar cycle. It kind of goes back the other way. And there's quite a few studies that actually prove this point as well. So how many of you do well all day? You're great, your water's on check, your calories on check, but then the nighttime comes and you're standing in front of that fridge looking for what to eat, whether it's because you're really hungry, you feel, oh, me too, Christina, I'm terrible. That when I saw this picture, the look on the girl's face, I just started laughing because that was so me, right? Like I find myself going to the fridge, I'm not hungry, but I just look in it. And I just got a new fridge, so it's nice and pretty, so I find that I go into it more. So it's just, it's interesting to relate all that. And if I do snack at night, I tend to reach for the bad stuff. And it's kids have gone to bed, the husband's playing whatever he's playing on his computer, or he's reading, and I'm bored. And like, let's be honest, 9.9 times out of 10, I'm going to pick something that's bad because I haven't had enough protein, or I haven't had enough water for the day. Sorry, my child. So it's just thinking all that sort of stuff. And the bad decisions happen because you haven't had your protein. And then that sugar cycle, it starts over again. So there's a graph that I wanted to show you, which is actually up next here. And it's how protein reduces cravings. And it just goes to show you, like with our obsessive food thoughts and the late night desire to eat, if you're having high protein, those thoughts go down. If you're having high protein, those late night desires to eat go down. One thing I can suggest is, if you're finding to be yourself, like the lady in the previous slide there, instead of going into your fridge and reaching for the last slice of pizza, make a shake. They're really super easy. You've got your shaker, just shake it up and you have it. It's really easy. Or grab a protein snack, a protein treat. Melanie has spent hours and hours and hours filming all these amazing recipes for us to use free. Anybody can watch them. You don't even need to be a patient of ours. You can go and you can see all these amazing recipes. And a new one is released every Friday. There's all sorts of different things. For example, last night I was feeling snacky, so I made the peanut butter protein cookies, and even my 5-year-old will eat them. And my kid is very, very, very picky. He has sensory processing disorder, and any type of texture he doesn't like, it's yucky. That kid lives on cheese pizza and grilled cheese sandwiches, and it's really hard to get him to actually eat a real food. So when I make these, he actually will eat them, which is really nice for me because then exactly, Maureen, and you almost feel bad as a parent when you're feeding all this crap to your kid and you know better. But there really isn't a lot you can do because of his needs. So it's really interesting with that. Um, if you guys, I did write down here, if you don't know already, our YouTube channel is youtube.com/protein treats kitchen. And you can go on there. And like I said, there is lots of recipes that Melanie has done. And I'm actually even in one of them. I was so nervous, I have to say, but it was actually really good. It was the maple one. It was so yummy. I really was nervous, Trish. I know like most of you are, like you all are a patient, so you've probably spoken with your coach already about Nutricell. Nutricell is an amazing protein. There's 30 grams of protein, there's 10 grams of fiber per serving. It is a great supplement if you are looking for something. It's something you should definitely speak to your coach about. And also starting in September, I believe it is when we're actually going to have personalized plans that are for you, and it can really help with free coaching as well. There's lots of exciting things that are coming out that you guys really need to be a part of. It's pretty awesome. Exactly, Maureen, and you definitely are a true testament for what Nutrisalt has done for you, right? So it's really what it is, and like overeating is basically simply sugar. And I know we've talked about sugar lots. Your coach tells you about sugar, your coach tells you about protein, and it's really repetitive. And I know we sound like a broken record, but like to be honest, it's amazing. Oh, that's awesome, Kim. I'm so glad you could join us. Definitely. One of the things that you can do is you can go to Nutricell.com and just have a look under shop. And you're going to see your different kits there. We do have 4 different kits. They are auto ship if you want. I know it does say consultant pricing is actually the cheapest. You don't have to sell, but it is the cheapest. And it will give you the option in the future if you'd like to continue on and actually make a little bit of money. 35 pounds. Yeah, exactly, Maureen. That's amazing. 35 pounds just from Nutricell. Wow. Yeah, not a problem, Kim. It's really great. And as you can see, like on my little screenshot there, you can actually watch videos. There's the recipes here. There's a few of the protein sheet recipes are right on the web page. You can contact us. We are, like I said, doing the meal personalized plans, which is really nice. The join our team is just kind of like more of an informative about how everything works. Of course, Trish, definitely. Definitely. We do have single bag sales now if you wanted to, so that's all ready to go. The single bag, so you can purchase just like, for example, 1 bag of coffee. You can just buy a bag of coffee if you want. You don't need to sign up on auto ship, just 1 bag. Yeah, it's pretty neat. We also do have sample sizes as well that you guys can purchase. We do have them in the vanilla cream and the vanilla mocha at the moment with chocolate and natural coming. They're just being made right now. Does anybody else have any questions for me about tonight? I know it was a really quick one, but it's something that we don't want to drag on too long just because it is pretty pretty easy, and then you can go back and you can rewatch it if I missed it, or if you missed anything, or if I missed anything, please feel free to email me and I will definitely find out for you. Yes, all under the shop button. So if you just click on shop, you're going to find, yeah, the single purchases. Yes, you betcha. Right under there, you're going to see where you can sign up as a consultant, a customer. You can sign up for like see our NutriGear, so that's like your business kits and stuff. And then you're going to see your single bag purchases. Yeah, you're so welcome. Yeah, it's what's the difference between whey protein? Like, do you mean like whey isolate and concentrate, Heather? Or Is that what you were meaning, Heather? It's just on how it's processed. So ours is a blend of the isolate and the concentrate, so it gives you the best of both worlds. And it's cross-filtered, so it doesn't lose any of the peptides when you consume it. Yeah, exactly. It's a blend of whey. So it's kind of like a 50-50 blend of isolate and concentrate. Yeah. Do we have any other questions? You're welcome, Heather. Thanks, Julie. Awesome, Kim. That is great. Good. I look forward to seeing your results. You won't regret it. Oh, I can bet. I agree, Trish. I love the hamburger buns. I wanted to make them the other night, but it was so hot in my house and I just wasn't going to put myself through that torture. So I just had a burger without the bun. No, they are. They're really good. No, these recipes are amazing. Awesome, everyone. Yes, they're awesome. Aw, thanks so much, you guys. But like I said, if you do have any other questions, don't hesitate. You can email me, you can email your coach. And yeah, we will hopefully answer your questions. And if we don't know, we will definitely find out for you. Thanks. Night, guys.